Well, that didn't work right. Anyway, hello everyone. I'm the okayest bassist, and this is the BASSics Volume 61. This is a live stream I try to do each week. It is for things that I wish I had known whenever I was first getting started. But we do more stuff. We also hang out with some folks. I try to get people who are much more knowledgeable than I am to come in and teach lessons as well. Because again, I don't think anyone knows everything. And some people have more acute knowledge in specific sections. Some people know a lot about strings. Looking at you. Some people know a lot about amps, preamps, modifications, pickups, all that kind of stuff. People are better at certain techniques. So I try to get specialties, experts, whatever you want to call them, to come in and they help out. And then sometimes we just kind of hang out, and that's kind of the plan today. So, of the lovely individuals with whom I have the great pleasure to hang out and converse, we have today the lovely, lovely Chris Volpini.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you, lovely man?
I am great. How are you?
Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Get
Oh,
more bases in the shot. There we go. Less of me. Well, more of me to look at, but oh well, they'll get over it. So do what?
I got a scratch on my head that I thought wasn't that bad, but I guess it is.
The camera adds 10 pounds and at least 3 severities to all wounds, I believe. So we unfortunately did not get to hang out at NAMM. However,
Oh,
there are plans in the works, whether you've heard them or not. There's a possibility of trying to do like I don't know if it'd be a base house kind of thing or just an area hangout. Leah had said that we might try and see about doing something over there because basically everybody but a couple people would be able to kind of drive there as opposed to Nashville where basically everyone but me has to fly. So
I mean, not
well,
necessarily because I mean, Nashville's a shorter drive than Boston for me.
oh,
It's
for
like
you.
7 hours. I would
Okay.
fly because there's a deal at Pittsburgh Airport for flights to Nashville that are like nothing.
Mm,
So I would fly, but that's because it would actually be cheaper for me to fly.
we'll see. Get it all
Yeah.
figured out.
I mean, it does. I'm game for whatever. I'll make it work. The only if I'm playing would
Life.
be the only.
Well, yeah, and we'd talked there with Aristotle about maybe seeing if there was a gig or something you guys so you kind of be in the
Well, I
area,
mean,
but
we could definitely do that. I would want to go. I don't even know. Like, it's going to be a busy year, and I don't even know. Let me look at what we have booked. Like, I'm guessing we're wanting to do it like in the summer.
I don't know
Okay.
because
Well,
she's got all her stuff going on too, and that
yeah,
could be sooner, could be later that she has like a
that's true.
relocation. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll all get it hashed out.
Well,
Just throwing that out there.
let me look at what dates we got because I'm sure there's a cool one. I'm sure there's like a cool hippie music festival or something. Um, so let me see what's on there, and uh, I can we can start coordinating it. The only thing that sucks is like, well, it depends. We'll see. Let's see what I got booked, and then we'll go from
Yeah,
there.
we'll get it figured out. So the only real plan I had is to kind of go over. I'm really happy you were able to be in today because I was just
Mhm.
going to go over the things that I had seen at NAMM, see maybe an outside perspective from you of, hey, what did you see here? What did you think of that kind of thing? And then to talk about like if there's anything you
Did you play
were,
stuff or were you weird?
I'm always weird.
But
So
I mean, did you play stuff? Because that's the kind of questions I have for you.
yes,
Or were you goofy and
I
not?
I
And
played like 5 instruments.
oh, for the love of God, you're at Disneyland and you're not riding the rides.
No, that's across the road.
I know, but it's
I had so much fun, like
I mean, that's all
legitimately
that matters.
walking up and talking to people about stuff. It was
It's all that
fun.
really matters, but still, like,
I played out loud, I think once. The other people were like, "We have headphones," and I was like, "Cool." So,
I, I,
what I what
I have questions and you don't have answers.
I I might have
I mean,
answers.
if you plan, so like the one that I watched from, I was watching Dibble's recap, and the one that really, because I'm kind of in the I'm passively in the market for a six string, um,
Okay.
and I kind of want a headless because six strings have a tendency to head dive because there's a lot of tuners, and the the sire single cut thing caught my eye. Um,
Mm, the F10.
yeah, the headless single cut thing
Mm-hmm. F10
definitely caught
DX.
my eye.
It was
Definitely.
nice. I liked it.
So is it like, is it active passive?
Mm-hmm. It's the
Okay.
same. It's the same circuitry as like I think the if you've played the M7 or if you played the original F. It's their standard. I think it's
I,
like their heritage or something like that.
yeah.
It has the F10s, which Leah found out from David, their CEO, because of course he was schmoozing over there. So it has three. I don't have mine. I actually sold my F10. But it has three switches. One is there are two of them, one for each of the pickups. That's series parallel single coil. There's another switch that is active passive. Then there's volume, tone, and then the typical three. And I want to say there was another. I think there was a stacked knob that did something too. Of course, I just flipped to passive, and then
It's super complicated.
yeah, a whole bunch of knobs.
What's the volume? Is it a huge volume swap when you go passive? Do you lose a lot of output?
Mm-mm. That was one
Okay.
of the things I really liked because I had
That's something
what
Yamaha
was
has
it?
that I really like.
One of the I want to say it was one of the courts. I think it was the court A5 plus that I had. When you switched it into passive, it was just bleh. You lost like 30% at least of the volume. And it was like I had it cranked all the way up and I always had to turn up an amp. So it was like, well, this is pretty stupid. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I love Lakeland. My only critique of of their instruments is that their the LH3 preamp, when it has a push pull to go to passive. When you go to passive, it's like less than half the output.
mm.
It's really low.
So the preamp's doing a lot of heavy lifting just being
Hmm.
engaged, let alone being set.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
that's my. I mean, part of it too is I I I think I did when I got it. When I got it, I was really trying to go to just using their flagship five string. I was going to have two fretted and a fretless, so one with rounds, one with flats, one fretless, and I really wanted to just set it and forget it on my entire like gain staging pedals and all that stuff. So I gain staged them all. The trim pot and the preamps, I gain staged all three basses to be equal output. And I don't even know, the fretless is the only one of that trio I still have, and I
Mm.
can't remember if I turned it. I might have boosted the preamp on it.
Mm.
I can't remember, but love that
No,
preamp.
I
That's one critique of it that I can say is honestly like something I don't like, but I also, it's never been an issue. So
the F10. I think the deluxe is the only one that comes headless. And they do a 4, 5, and 6.
mhm.
And that was kind of one of the irritations I had because they didn't have, at least I didn't see, a 5 on display. Like they had a 4, they had a 6 in the headless. And then they had the original F10 5. And then they had a prototype, which I have a set of pictures we're going to go through. They had a prototype that was a 5-string that I absolutely loved, and they wouldn't let me have it because, they don't just give away freebies, apparently.
No, I mean, I know it's the expensive one is the one I have to get. I mean, that's fine.
Because you're not a fan of multi-scale, right?
Neither here nor there. On a 6-string, I wouldn't want it because on a 6-string, I like doing a lot of chord stuff, and that's the one thing that the multi-scale kind of screws me up on.
Okay.
Is when you try to do chords in the upper register, that that angle gets weird.
I got you.
But that's my only gripe with multi-scale. It's a non-issue to me. I just don't care one way or the other. So you tend to have to pay more to get something multi-scale, and I don't really care. So why pay more for something?
I was just going to throw out that EHB has the 1506, which is a headless, lightweight multi-scale. So if you don't care for the multi-scale, if that's not a goal, because I want to say the EHB 1506 is, I think they're 1819. So you're right in that same range as the Sire anyway. So
yeah, I mean, if I played one and if I had a chance to ABM or whatever, but maybe I would pick the Ibanez. But I know one thing is I prefer the string spacing because it's the sound. The EHB is essentially the sound gear neck, and I don't like that tight string spacing. So that's always been my gripe with the EHB is like I'd have to get a 4-string to get if I got one because on a 5-string I get kind of picky about string spacing and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But
I was just pulling it up on.
That was my pick for a 6-string, even though it's not headless. I was just going to get a BTB because that's one of my favorite designs in existence, and I don't have one. Truth be told, I still might do that. It's going to depend on a number of factors. But I saw that Sire, and I really liked the way it looked, and I was like, that's a single cut I actually like. And because it's like that Benavente offset kind of look. But yeah, I've always liked Sire stuff. I just don't have one.
Let's say on the BTBs there are a couple that come in a 6.
I
There's
know.
one.
I want the fancy with um either the Nordstrom. I've seen ones with Nordstrom. I've seen ones with Aguilar, but nah, I
There
don't
you
like that
go.
one. Nah,
Single cut.
I don't like that. Like I don't like the look of it. It's the BTB. I'm sure I would like the neck and everything, but I think that one's more expensive. I think you pay extra for the single cut.
Yeah, like $100.
I honestly, when it comes to aesthetics, I care, but I don't like if they were having a sale on the single cut and it was significantly cheaper, I'd get it just because it's cheaper. Like it's more about like the feel. I'm big on the feel of the instrument. Not I don't really care what it looks like at the end of the day.
Sure.
But I mean, I guess I do factor it. It's not a deal breaker.
I got that one on sale.
See, I would want the fancier one, honestly.
Oh, well.
I get it mixed up, premium or the other between that one and the other one. They have this really cool gray finish with like this. It looks like they took a bunch of pieces of flame maple and did like a puzzle piece. Yeah, that's the top, but there's that finish is cool, but it's a little bit loud for my taste. There's a gray color that they do too that I really like.
I only
But
see
there again,
one. I only see one that's gray, at least on Sweetwater, and it's that one I just showed you.
yeah, it's that exact base. It's just gray instead of that yellow to blue fade.
There you go.
Yeah, that's okay.
Either way,
I'd my plan is, in the near future, I'll probably go out and visit my my buddy at Sweetwater, and they got them all. I'll just try a bunch and pick one if I decide to go that route. But I kind of want to look into the sire first.
Especially the
So
headless, like you said, for
yeah,
weight.
that's the other thing is like I know it won't head dive if it's headless. So that's a huge benefit on a six string. Like usually I don't think about that on a four or a five, but
Yeah.
six string bases, just about all the ones I've had have had headstock dive because of the six
Yeah.
base tuners is a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like my Gould six string that I had the ultralight Godo, like
Oh, the Resolites.
yeah, and did not still headstock dive.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I was looking
So,
at Kiesel, and
oh,
I'm sure the instrument would be good. I just don't want to give that company money.
I'd say I've heard
So
plenty of stories on awesome stuff, and then I've heard awesome
yeah,
stories
that
about
same
the
here.
so. But yep.
Like I love in terms of the look and everything.
Mm. I
Their
really
head,
like the look of the Zeus. I think it looks neat.
well, they got rid of a bunch of stuff. I
Mm.
think the only one left is like I think is it the Vader? Is that what it's called?
That was
Is
one
that
of their models.
is it headless? Like
You could get any of their stuff in headless, I think, on
oh
their
well maybe
builder. Like on their builder, you could go through and there might have been some that you couldn't, but I know like the Zeus was one of them. There were yeah.
well that part see that maybe I'm mixed up. Um, but I mean,
You could also talk to McGrath, see if they'll do you a six headless.
I thought they just did like a P base thing.
No, they do. He
Yeah, the
has a couple.
Vader.
Yeah, with McGrath, he has two or three body shapes, and then he does.
Hmm.
I don't think he does anything headless currently, but he usually seems to be on board for just about anything. But
Hmm.
we'll see.
I'm really wanting to play one of their bases.
Well, working
I'm
on it.
really interested in doing like man that could be man if they so they do sixes.
I don't think he does right now. I've
Um,
only seen fours and fives, but again, we have the N. That was one of the things I was going to talk about is that he should be
yeah.
making. I was texting him last night. He was asking what he he's such a nice guy. And he was like, well, just tell everybody who might review it to go on the builder and build what they would like to see, and then we'll figure it out from there. I was like, you're going to get like 5 or 6 builds, and they're all going to be different. He goes, well, we can find the difference between them. I was like, yeah, it's going to be a 33 1/4 inch scale with 4 3/4 strings. And it's like there's not, I doubt there's going to be very many similarities across everybody. So I told him, he said, well, just
I bet it'd be pretty similar, honestly. I don't think it would be a huge difference.
we'd see.
I know what I would do.
Well,
Um,
throw yours in the builder, shoot it over. I
how do
can
I
ask
do?
him.
Hang on, how do I do
It's
it?
McGrath Guitars. If you just
Yeah,
type
I'm
in
on the
McGrath,
website.
yeah,
Yeah,
bass
how do I
builder,
send it to you when I do it?
just take a screenshot.
Okay.
But while you're having that fun building your own pictures, I am going to hit share screen and hope that it works properly. It kind of worked properly if I do this.
See, that's the thing. That's the only thing about
Better.
their builder. Like, it's a cool idea,
Why is
but
it
it's
so
really
blurry?
bad at representing the finishes.
Yeah, he if if there's a certain one you want, like in the case of one of them that I put, I don't remember what it was called, but I sent it to him and he basically said, "Yeah, give me a minute. Here's a picture of one that actually had that finish as opposed to the generator." But
Yeah,
I
you
can
see, what
under
that's just inefficient.
well, but on that same note, I mean, his wife, I think, hand stains all of
Yeah,
them. So they're all going to be a little different. So I think they
yeah.
would rather go with ambiguity on this is the idea as opposed to this is the exact look.
Well, one thing they could do though is like keep the builder exactly the same. but when you hover over the colors, like or something, just have an example. Just have a picture of an actual instrument painted that color
Yeah.
on the side, just so you can see like at least a more accurate representation
Well,
of the. You know what
you
I
know
mean? It's
what?
not a huge
We
deal. It's
can
still,
we can pitch that to him now.
yeah. I mean, it's barely worth mentioning. It's just like I said, like it's like it makes me unsure about the color. Um, see,
So
like
here was me getting photo bombed by some random lady on the parking lot of the airport. I don't know. It's just
it looks
I guess
vice
I'm
versa. She's the one taking the picture. How are you getting photobombed?
no, she swung up and attacked me with a photo. That's what
Oh,
happened. Yeah. You can see I'm
no,
just
better
there
watch.
trying to
Better
get
watch.
an Uber, minding my own business, and this lady just
Yeah.
comes up. I'm a big deal.
Well,
There's 385 people
and
subscribed to
she's
my
only
channel.
human. She's only human.
When I told her all I got to do is put 3 zeros on the end of my subscriber count, and I'll have her beat. So that was the first photo of all of it. Uh, should go to the next. This was a wonderful place we went for her to get coffee each morning. Just thought it was a
Dude,
neat place.
she makes like because that like I'm I you know I've drank coffee with vinegar in it. Like I don't
Oh,
I just grab I just
I
go to my
didn't know that, but
well that's an Afghanistan story, but yeah but so I just but every time I go anywhere with her, like she always goes to the coolest like coffee shops. It's always something. It's always like a.
we we
It's always
found this.
a thing.
She had looked for a place to get breakfast, and there was a place across the street, like a little cafe
Hmm.
diner kind of place. And we went over there, and then we saw this sign from across the road, and she decided that'd be a good place to go get coffee. So
Yeah.
we went there like 3 times.
Yep.
Uh, I met this
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
He needed a photo with me. It was funny because there were like 5 people, all of them I wanted to get a picture with. They were all talking, so I was just kind of standing in the background over there by Rough Guitars talking to them anyway. And as soon as I saw them disperse, they went in like 3 different directions. So I had that moment of, okay, I can't get them all because they're going to be gone before I can get to all of them. So
Mhm.
I actually walked up to Ian with my picture from last year, and I was like, "Hey, I got one last year. Can I continue my trend?" And he kind of looked down. I'm thinking he was trying to figure out how to get a picture of him with different clothes. And then I explained it of I got one last year. So he was like, "Yeah, sure." So he took a photo with me. And then Scott was like right behind him, so I had to chase him down. So he took a picture. That was fun. I saw this, and
Yeah, dude. I
I
want one.
really want. So, and we were there, and of course Leah's playing, and she's talking to everybody there.
Hmm.
Um, and I had asked her before we got there, I was like, "Does Trickfish do a combo?" Because I'm not a separate head and cab person. I just want a simple, small thing. I don't go out and busk. I don't need anything to compete with a drummer. I just want something really good and nice for at home. And she was like,
Yeah.
she was like, I don't think they do. And then we got there, and this was like nestled in the corner
Yeah.
behind next
It's
to
no.
all of their stuff. And then there was like couches just to the left
Yep.
of this photo. And then on the opposite side was like a sitting area where they had a couple of Federas and other basses, and they had their new Trickfish Federa preamp pedal.
Hmm.
And I took the picture of this and showed it to Leah, and she was talking. She was like, I have the Bullhead Mini and the one by and two. I think she has two 110s or 112s, one or the
112.
other.
Yeah, I
And
helped her get
she was like, I could just get this and put it on the extension cab, and then I wouldn't need the separate stuff. So now I'm waiting to see what she's gonna do, because if she decides she wants that, she said she'd make me a nice offer on buying her stuff. So now I'm waiting. However, Trickfish was nice to get me a deal on getting their Minnow, which is what you said you use.
yeah.
Um, so they got me a deal on that. It's on the
The
way. Of
Minno's
course,
great, man.
I'm
Good DLR.
excited because I can hook it straight into the interface and get that clean tone without. However, whenever I do a sound test, I will still go straight into the Focusrite just because there's nothing coloring the signal since there's nothing in the middle. But when I'm playing and wanting to practice or whatever, it's nice to have it. And I'll probably take it to church because we use a tone hammer there. And the guy who also plays bass, he has it set where like the bass is cranked up all the way, the treble's really low, and I'm not gonna mess with his settings. I also have like a Boss OC5 that I just have the octave up about halfway so that it fills the sound because we don't have like an electric guitar person. And he unplugs it as soon as he gets there and just plugs straight into the tone hammer. So I'm just gonna have my
So
own
it was great
pedal.
too. I mean,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
my
I like the
wife,
sound, but I would
yeah,
like to be able to have something a little more like there are times where you hit like a G or especially anything lower than a low E and you can hear like the PA brackets in the ceiling buzzing because there's so much rumbling bass and I'm not a huge fan.
yeah.
But
I,
I saw
I
that and it made me happy. But
yeah,
then
I really want one of those. I'm gonna get one. It's definitely coming. I'm doing some other stuff right now, and I have to make some other purchases. But the yeah, I know, but I
no,
also think
that's the reason I don't have one.
yeah, I mean, I also think that it's worth it. I right now my amp. I've never been happier with my amp stuff. Um, I got
You
that
just
trick.
got that new stack and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have my big trickfish rig. I have my little trickfish rig, and then I have that big Ampeg rig. And man, asking me to pick between the big Ampeg and the big trickfish rig is tough because they both do different things very very well. But I feel like if I just spend enough time turning knobs, I could get everything out of the trickfish that I get out of the Ampeg. Um, I think overall, like I'm going to give it to Trickfish as like a product or whatever. But the Ampeg rig has I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm super happy with it. It's I think it's the coolest amp. The Venture 12 is what I'm talking about. I think is the coolest amp head to have come out in the last 10 years or so. Time will tell about like reliability and all that. I can tell you the Trickfish reliability is stellar because the rig you're talking about, Leah's rig, I have the same one. That's my little Trickfish rig. It's the mini Bull 500 and the mini 112 cabinets. And that thing, I've toured with that one more than I've toured with the big one for obvious reasons. We're a big band and we don't have a lot of room. And the small amp has been I've played it on big stages, stages that I've played the big rig on too, and it's held up fine. So I can definitely attest to the Trickfish reliability. Um, and
Well, and
their
you've told your story about their customer service too,
yeah, yeah, and
which
that's
I
the
will
thing.
say was super cool because at the booth, I was talking about it and they were like, "Hey, you have any questions?" Because Leah was sitting there playing and I was just kind of floating around, just looking at stuff. And they're like, "Hey, you got any questions or anything? Is there anything?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I see a combo. That's what I'm interested in. Of course, they asked if I wanted to play it, and I'm like, "Well, first of all, Leah's right here, and there's one place to sit, and I'm not gonna sit right next to her on this couch and try to play dueling basses at the same time." So I
Yeah,
was like, no, I'm good. But I was like, all I said was that I didn't really have many questions. And it was simply for the fact that a good friend of mine has a trickfish rig and basically told me that they're awesome, they're clean, there's not a lot of coloration to it, and that you
there's
can't beat the
really
customer
not.
service because he had like a head blow up on him and he made a call and you guys overnight and they're like, "Oh, Chris." I was like, "Okay." It's like,
That
didn't
man,
know you were that big of a deal.
I mean, I'm not, but it or like I just annoyed them that badly. But
Oh God, you
I
know
was in a
that
bad
guy.
spot. Yeah, it very well could be that. I hope it's not,
You're infamous, not
but
famous.
I mean, I was in a bad spot because, like I said, that it happened on a Wednesday. It was like a throwaway. I mean, no gig is a throwaway gig, but it was a Wednesday night show at like this like coffee shop that has these Wednesday night events. It was like a little acoustic thing. We picked it up last minute, and the head that's where the head blew. And Friday we had this show that like because I didn't have any other amps at the moment, and Friday we had this show that was kind of a big deal for us, and so I was already like trying to find uh, heads to borrow from other bass players in the area and stuff like that. And they he emailed me back and he was like, "Dude, we can get it to you in time." I just emailed him and I was like, "Hey, like, um, here's what happened." And I said, "I hate to be like this, but if it's not, it's cool. I'll figure it out. But if there's any way we can get it here by Friday." um,
Yeah,
and and he and while I was waiting for his response, I was figuring out like, okay, what can
sure.
I borrow?
Backup plan.
And it was more like that wasn't even part of the plan because I didn't think they were going to be able to do it. It was 2 days, um,
Yeah.
and but in that time they emailed back and they were like, listen, like we can do this like whatever night, blah blah blah. And I still had something lined up. It was I found a power amp to buy, and I was going to run. It wasn't going to go well, but I would have survived. Um,
You'd have
and
made noises people could hear.
well, that was the thing is like where I'm at. Craigslist is there's not much stuff on Craigslist and stuff, and it I just wasn't finding anything. And then I was thinking about just like I'll just buy like an Ampeg head or something at my local music store. But he in that time he emailed me back
Yeah.
and
That's
they
what
got it.
like I said, it's super
And
cool.
that head has been on the. It's had. I haven't beat that rig as much as I beat the little one, just because the big one's way more expensive. But that one, I had that first head blew up, and then I immediately got that one, and zero issues. We do a
One
lot
of
of outdoor shows, and sometimes you have to leave your stuff up there for a long time, and it gets really hot and all that stuff. And so, like, if the head isn't made well, more susceptible to that stuff. You're basically, these heads are made out of aluminum, and it's basically turns them into an oven in a hot sun. Um,
sure.
but
One of the one of the things I kept finding was I don't know what the proper name would be, but I kept walking through the little Chinatown booths where it's like, hey, we're a Chinese manufacturer. Here's what we can make for you. And I saw this one. I really liked the finish. And I walked up and I was like, can I play that? They're like, oh, yeah, sure. So I sit down. They don't have an amp. I sat down
yep,
and I started playing it. And the lady just walks up and is like, you want to buy it? $200. You buy it today. And I was like, I haven't even played it yet. Like I have just sat in the chair
plug it in. You don't even know
and I
what
was
it
like,
sounds.
yeah, I was like, I can I play it first? She's like, yes. $200. You buy it today. I was like, right.
I mean, I've gambled $200 in worse ways,
Well,
but
and I was looking at it, but the thing weighed like 12, 13 pounds. Like I don't know what kind of rocks they made it from, but it was heavy. And it was completely out of tune. Like every string was just holding on there. So I had a clip-on tuner I brought and I hurried and tuned it up and it played nice, but it was just so
yeah.
ridiculously heavy that I was like, yeah, I'm good. And I hung it back up. And like the next day I walked by and I swear to God, the lady remembered me and just kept as I
Well,
walked by.
the look isn't my thing, but the pickup spacing is interesting. I wouldn't mind.
I thought that it was interesting that they have this like chromatic fade to the center, like the red to slightly yellow to blue, and then
Yeah,
they
it's just
do
not
this natural wood looking pickup covers. I was like, that's an aesthetic choice, but
like
I
I
thought it
like it.
was
It's not something I would ever buy.
I liked the finish.
Yeah,
That's why I took a picture
but
of
the
it.
pickup
Oh,
spacing is interesting. Like
my
the pickup
yeah,
placement.
my son's favorite color is rainbow, so I decided that was the most rainbow I had seen, so I took its picture. This is an awful picture, but this
Is that bad?
is yeah, this is a double, not double bass as in an upright,
I got you. Yeah,
but a
too.
double bass case
Yeah.
by Dr. Case. So that's one that Ron. So Ron, you can actually kind of see it if I zoom in. Right there, Hills. So that's Ron. He's the exclusive North American distributor for Hills. He's also going to do the same for Dr. Case. So hopefully, he said he was going to try to whatever he sends out for our group to try this year. He was going to try and send two in one of those cases, so we just have everything at one time to be like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at
Well,
this,
hey,
and
if
then
he wants to, if he wants some content that no one will watch, I can
it's my
I can
specialty.
road test. I can road test his cases this
I
summer
mean, honestly, it
on
might
tour.
also be worth you contacting him because maybe you guys could sell them at your store.
Yeah,
Who knows?
potentially. Yeah. I mean, I gotta look. I don't remember what their price point was. I gotta look at that, but
Well,
potentially,
and of course, and like I said, that one it's part of a series called the Axe Wheel, where it has clip-on um, luggage wheels. Almost, they're better than a standard luggage wheel, and they can clip on
yeah,
and
my
off on
group
the
deal
back,
has
and
those.
then you can zip the clothes around it so that it looks more like just a regular case. It was pretty cool. I liked it. Of course, it's way easier to use than this thing, this giant N key that I have that's
Mm.
almost big enough that I wouldn't fit in it, but I would bet Floof could fit inside it. So then I met this guy. They were getting ready to start a thing, and he was just kind of walking around, and I said hi. He's so nice. Like
Who is
he
that?
might have been. That's Nate Navarro.
Oh, okay.
He might be one of the nicest people I
Hmm.
talked to the entire time there. He was just super. I mean, I've never liked the phrase down to earth, but he, like, when I asked him, could I get a picture with him, he kind of gave me a look like, why would you want to do that? Okay. And then took a picture. Like, I'm sure he gets his picture asked for all the time, but he still seemed like he didn't know why I was asking. It was great. He was super nice. He stood there and talked to me for like 5 minutes, and then he goes, the lights faded that they were going to start the thing. He's like, oh, I've got to go over there. I'm supposed to be here for this. And I was like, okay, you've been nice enough to talk to me. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, no, I have more to say.
No, that's cool.
Then I went to the second day we went. I thought I was just going to hang out with everybody. And then I
Hmm.
just kind of ditched everybody because there was stuff I wanted to do. And Leah kept scattering to oh, I want to go look at this.
There's kind of always like one day where everybody just kind of goes and does their own thing.
Yeah, I seem
Um,
to do that every day, but the first day I stuck with Leah, and then I was just like, you know what? There's places I want to go. I got lost in the outside of NAMM last year and probably should have been more worried than I was, but I figured I'm inside NAMM. No one's going to kidnap me in there. Like, there's way better stuff to steal than me. So there you go. But I saw that one, and I didn't realize that this was like their original design thing. I thought they were trying to make like an Alembic or a wall kind of thing since it's a
hmm.
custom shop. And then I said something to one of the guys who was working there, and he's like, oh no, that's like our original design. I was like, oh, your new ones are a lot
Well,
better.
I think Spectres are great instruments. They're just not for me. But I think they're well made, and
I
um,
really want one of their dimensions, the
yeah, I just
multi-scale,
don't.
but they're not making them now. because I
Oh,
asked
really?
him about it. I was like, I keep trying to find a way to get one of the red ones because I had one. I'd set up this like
I like the
purchase.
brown.
It was like a purchase trade kind of thing going on through Reverb.
Hmm.
And I was supposed to get one. And then the guy took it, dropped it off at a UPS store, had the receipt, had the tracking number, and it never left the UPS store. Like they claimed they put it on a truck. I think someone just walked in, found a box, and walked off with it because it never got scanned as having left there. And then, of course, he made the claim. He got all, everything got undone. So I didn't get it. But I saw this one, and I was I like to imagine that they forgot they made it a 5 string, so they had it all set up for a 4, and then they're like, "Oh crap, that pickup. There's nothing to pick up that string," and they just added a third one. I'm sure that's a different reason. I'm sure it's for some sort of tonal quality, but I like to imagine they made a 5 string and forgot to get a three
I'd
string
like to
pickup.
hear it because it's kind of it's a cool idea for sure.
There are
Because
videos of people playing it. I
yeah,
wasn't. I wasn't even
that's
going to ask to
one
touch it
thing.
because that's all USA custom shop stuff for a lot of money.
That was one that I saw that I was like I said, I'm not. There's something about Spectre next that I just don't like. Um, and it's but I just want to hear the way that sounds because I think
That
that's a cool idea.
This one looked fun. I guess Johnny's already gotten one of these, or at least it's been sent to him.
Hmm.
This was Ashdown, and this is, I think it was a 24-inch scale, little tiny 4 string travel bass.
Yeah, I saw they're like two. If they're $200, I'm gonna get one.
I saw it and I liked it. And
Hmm.
there were two of them. There was this, and then there was one that looked like almost an olive drab. But it was cute. And I asked, I'm trying to remember her name, Georgina, I think's her name. Um, like she's friends with Johnny. When we went last year, they hung out a bunch. And I was asking her, I was like, does Johnny know about this one? And she goes, well, he ought to. We sent him one. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, fair enough. But then while I was there was this guy. So that was cool, Pete Griffin.
Hmm.
So he was there like a bunch. Every time I walked by the Ashdown booth, he seemed to be there just hanging out with people. So he was super cool. He was nice. And then holy crap is Josh Tall from Bass Buzz. Like I thought for sure in her heels Leah was going to be the tallest person I was going to be around, and then he walked up and he's got to be every bit of 6'8".
Hmm.
And then I took the picture like holding it like at my face level to be like, you are way too tall. And then I was like, hold on, I'm gonna take it down here so we look the same height. And then he, I guess, didn't like the angle, so he made a funny face, which he was nice, he was friendly. But then he got pulled away by the people he was there with. They were like, we're going over here, so he had to leave. But he was super nice. And then I'd already gotten the other two the day before, and I was gonna ask Sharon for her photo because Leah was hanging out with another lady who plays bass, and she knows Sharon. And then Sharon came by, and she was like, "Here, just get behind her," and I'll be like, "Hey, Sharon," and then hurry up and take her photo. I was like, "I think I'll just wait and ask. It seems weird." And then, of course, the cutest person that I saw the whole
There
time
we
named
go.
was Sharon's dog, who she had ear protection for. And then she goes, count down from 3. And as soon as she said 3, the dog just looks at her face. She goes, count down from 3 and she'll look at your camera. And I counted down, and the whole time she just stared at Sharon. She's like, not me. You're supposed to look at the camera. So that was fun. Then I saw this, and it was cool looking, the Tosin Abasi bass.
Um,
They wouldn't let me pick it up, and I couldn't get a good photo because they had it on this weird illuminated table. So it was
what
cool
company is
looking.
that? Is that just his
Yeah, I think it's
company?
just
Yeah.
I think it's Abasi Designs or something like that. It
It's
looked
cool.
cool. It looked
It
comfy.
looks
I
like
thought it
your
was
thing
in.
though.
Hmm?
It looks like your thing though. It doesn't really look like my thing.
Yeah, I
Multi-scale
would have.
headlight.
If they'd have let me have it, I would have taken it happily. If
How much
that,
do they cost?
oh, they're thousands, like 3 to 5. If
Okay.
that Chinese lady had been around and told me $200 I could have it today, I'd have had 2 of them.
You could have sent me one.
This one was.
Oh, is that
neat.
the cream guitars or whatever?
Yeah, and it's a holographic
Yeah.
underneath the, so it has the weird like color shift swirl.
Did they
This was
have
at
the
Rough.
did they have the ones that change colors?
Yeah, that one does. Like you
Yeah.
can kind of see the holograph of it, like the
Well, it's
swirls,
not like a
everything.
pearlescent thing, like it straight up changes colors. It was
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah, like almost like a screen inside.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they had those too. They gave me a card and had me reach out while I was there, but they've never gotten back to me. But I figured NAMM's
Every time I've seen
ridiculously
them,
busy.
they've been at every NAMM I've ever been to. I've never seen any bass anything from them.
Yeah.
It's just guitars.
This one was at Rough. Rough last year had said they hoped to have their bass, which they're planning a multi-scale headless, to be released by this NAMM, but I guess they had other stuff come up. Last year they had one that had certain parts of the male anatomy painted all over it, and I didn't get a picture of that. And then this year they had this one with a bunch of ducks that says "What the Quack."
Are those
So
carbon fiber?
no, I think they do like a carbon fiber veneer, but theirs are made of like a, I think it's patented. It's some sort of proprietary, like injection mold that they do.
Oh, so it's some
Um,
kind of composite.
yeah, like they last year, and I probably told you this already, but last year, after having heard all of your guys' story about the blunt force guillotine happening to that SG,
Oh yeah,
um, I
that
last
guy.
year I knew what they do because they have demos on like their website and on their YouTube channel where they'll have a guitar and they'll hand people a screwdriver and be like, stab the body, try and break it. And people stab at it and it won't break. And then they'll throw it on the ground and they'll like stand on the neck. There's dozens of photos of people standing on the necks of these. Um, and I knew they would do something. So I asked Bully to come over to the booth with me, and I was like, "Yeah, can you guys show him that ultra durable?" And he starts looking at me when I say the word durable, and they go, "Oh, this one," and they just drop it. And Bully jumps and starts to like try to find a place to hide because he's not going to be part of this again. And then the dude just like laughs and picks it up and like throws it back on the table. Um, but yeah, I went to see them and they said they're still waiting. They're hoping sometime in the spring. So I'm supposed to reach back to
What's
see
their
if
price point?
I'm not sure on their guitars. I think their stuff's normally in like the 15 to 28 range. Like
You
their
said the
stuff's
bass
not
is gonna be multi-scale.
multi-scale headless is what they said.
Uh,
So yeah, right up my lane.
I mean, hopefully they come out with one, maybe an option to not be, because that sounds like right up my alley. Like I love carbon fiber stuff. I love the cool stuff.
Durable.
Yeah, I like stuff that I don't have to worry about. But
They're
I love that close part, that component build that I have.
mm,
It's just I can just grab it and go. It never needs, it's a Toyota Corolla. It never needs anything.
just gas.
Hmm.
Maybe oil every now and then.
I,
So offbeat. This was the only offbeat supposed to be at the show, so I wanted to go look at it. And then this McGrath was right next to it. They call this the super bass because they do the pickups to look like an S. Because if you're going to do 3P pickups, why not? But this was at the All Parts booth, and Cormac was telling me that he was given like all of these parts. Like these are their tuners. These are their, I think they're Blood Moon pickups. It's like all parts, all parts. It's
cool.
That's an interesting statement in English.
I just made my McGrath. Who do I send? How do I send it to you?
Take a screenshot and just throw it in the group chat or straight message it to me. Are you using a Windows computer?
Yeah, I don't know how to get like. Is there like a build
Control,
sheet, or
hit
you just want to see the
Window.
picture?
Oh, I'm about to say I was just thinking the picture, but if you want the whole
Um,
thing, you could print
yeah,
screen and
Control
save
Print,
it.
right? Or Control P.
Control P, save as PDF, and then you could just send that to me. I could forward it. But that all parts one, he actually has this listed on his website right now as like a B stock because, of course, it was at the show. People handled it. He has it for like
Mhm.
1,500. He said that It's parts he doesn't normally use, because of course he doesn't normally use all parts. But it's also only passive, and normally he does active stuff with a passive switch, push pull. So
Hmm.
if any of the two people watching want a triple P McGrath 4-string, $1,500 on his website right now, which is like $600 off. This is the Hills that should be coming, the
There we
5
go.
string multi scale. The camera didn't do a very good job, but it color shifts between this purple and like a blue and then a green. Kind of like that Aurora black that Ibanez has, but more pronounced. So it's pretty cool. I liked it. That was just a straight picture of it. So it has a smaller single coil than what the one I have. Let me grab it. So the one that I have, which I think is like the HNB5, is that it? It doesn't say. But like the one I have has a larger single coil up at the neck than what the new one does. And then the new one has the soap bar humbucker, whereas this has just two singles. So that HS configuration looks really interesting to me, and it played nice, and it has the same type of thing, except it has a switch for the passive as
Hmm.
opposed to the push pull, if I remember right. Maybe that switch was the no. I think that switch is for the humbucker. I'd
Hmm.
have to look it up, make sure, because I think it's still push pull for passive, but I think that one is whether you want it in series parallel or single, and then the single is the back, so it's like a more of a jazz. Um, but it was
It's
cool.
cool.
This is their little short scale, 30
Hmm.
inch.
I
It
like
has
it.
just a
It's yeah.
single. Whoa. Aha, get a bigger cursor. Look at that. It's passive. It's just volume and tone. It's
Hmm.
tiny, and of course, having normally playing a 5-string, I picked that short scale 4-string up, and the neck felt so tiny. Um, but it sounds really nice. They had little. Trying to remember what the brand was. They had little like multi-effect pedals with an expression pedal on. I think they were by Mooer.
Oh yeah,
And
mover.
they just
Hmm.
they had like three they had two circular tables with three little stools and three of those little Mooer multi-effect pedals, and then they had
I think
like
I'm going to
two
be
set
bringing
up.
them into my store actually.
Huh. They had like two set up for bass, and then the others were set up for guitar. Oh, that was just I don't know why that one's there. It's just a bigger, closer picture. I saw this one, and it was at one of the like Chinese booths.
Yeah,
It's the
it's like
Dingwall scale. It's the Dingwall scale, but I really liked the coloring on this blue stripe that they had. It was neck through.
yeah, but it just
Um,
looks like a one of those Chinese. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, I was hoping if they had told me $200 you can have it today, I would have had it because it
Hmm.
weighed less than the other one, and it was 37 to 34, and then it had the. I absolutely hate these. Well, this didn't do. I absolutely hate these bridges where they're the
Oh, is it one of the
single.
ones you got to loosen the string and move it with your finger?
Oh, you don't
Yeah.
have to. You could just put like a screwdriver against it and hit it with a hammer. It'll move that way too, as long as you don't have the set screw to hold it in place. But
I
I
hate
really
those.
liked it because these are just slot load. So I was thinking, well, if I want to do like a string comparison of something that fits a ding wall, rather than having to restring the ding wall over and over, I could just use this. And then
Hmm.
it's also not really nice ding wall pickups. It's the regular El Cheapo,
Yeah.
probably Al Nico's. So I liked it, and it's so weird because they had all these instruments, and most of them they all had these tags, and on the back they would say sold or they would say MISO, MESO, which I presume also meant sold. And this one didn't have anything. It just had one like tiny little line. And when I asked the lady who was working at the booth, she goes, I think this one is sold. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. It didn't say sold on the back or I wouldn't have bothered you. So she asked some guy. He comes over and looks and he's talking to me. And I was like, yeah, I wanted to see if I could buy it. And he goes, um, that should be okay. And I was like, okay, well, she said it was sold and it has this one line on the back of it. So he goes and talks to her, and I see her like they're speaking Chinese, I suppose. And she's like looking at him like, I think so, yes. And so he's like, yeah, no, I think it is sold. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'd start to walk away, and the guy like taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, next year, come here first day, and you come here first, and then you can buy one. And I was like, well, is there a way I can order one online? Like, I like this, and you apparently made this. How can I buy one? Like, if I can get one, like, obviously, if you guys are selling it $200-$300 on the NAMM floor because we don't want to ship it anywhere, like, is it online for $400 or $500? I might be able to find that and swing it. Like, if it's like an IYV. And he didn't seem to understand the question. He just kept saying, oh, these are all going to a local music store. They will sell them. And I was like, yeah, but how do I order one? He's like, yes, the music store has orders. I was like, okay, that's good. So ended up just kind of wandering off from there.
Yeah, I mean, see, like that one. Okay.
I
I mean,
just saw a bunch of colors, and I was trying to
yeah,
keep something so my kid would see that I'm finding
I like the
rainbow
inlay.
things.
I like the top and the color. Everything is cool, but it just looks like one of those cheap eBay. You know,
Yeah.
I just know that the frets are all jacked up and like,
You don't want you a Bellcat pickup?
no,
I
no.
don't. When I first saw it, I thought it was saying bad cat, and I was like,
I think it probably
nope.
sounds fine. It's just like you can see in there. Look at the pickup routing. It's a sloppy
Yeah.
route, and that's the
Oh
that's the
yeah.
display piece at NAMM.
I
So
really
like
I really
that's them
liked it
really
because
trying.
this one, when I got it, I thought it was awful. Like, I asked, could I play it? They were like, yeah, sure. Like, they were just sitting there at a table eating a cup of noodles, like legit
Hmm.
brand cup of noodles. And they're like, yeah, you go somewhere and play it. So I like walked. I wasn't going to leave their booth with it, so I went to like the other end of their booth and sat down. And they looked at me like I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was like, "You're fine." I sit down, and all of the strings were touching the frets, and that's because, like the other one, none of them. These ones didn't even have tension. Like, they were sitting. I was like, oh my god. So I put the tuner on it, and when I tuned it, it played fine. But like, they had absolutely no tension to those strings.
I don't
Like,
know.
as
Like
I
I'm
picked it
looking
up,
at
the
the
strings were shaking. But no, I just saw one with a whole bunch of colors and wanted to send it
yeah.
so
I
my
don't know.
wife would show my son and be like, look, another rainbow.
See
This
that?
one had me this one had me interested. Um,
Hmm.
because it's multi-scale, it's headless. I asked the lady, what is this? Because it didn't seem like it was 35 to 33. I'm pretty sure it was 35 and a half to 33 and a half because it was so mild on the multi-scale. Like, my
Hmm.
guess would be like, oh, you get a standard set of strings and it'll still fit and you won't have any worry about silk and all that. Um,
See, I would probably
and
like
they
that in terms of the low B tension. Like you
the
know what I
the
mean? Because you know you're getting if you're using if it's multi-scale but still good for like a regular set of strings like that, like you
yeah,
know you're getting those as like taut as they're gonna get.
yeah,
So I kind of dig that actually
I
because
liked
that's
it.
kind of the benefit of the multi-scale. That's what you want. That's kind of the whole reason for it.
Yeah,
Um,
string
and you're
tension.
still you're getting it. You know, if you do it that way, you're getting it without having that extra angle to the frets.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know. I see the benefit.
and it has the weird, like, this is the same type of knurling that the first gen Sire M6s have. I don't know if it's the same parts. I can't say it is because I don't know. But it has that same, like, really smooth texture as opposed to like the Ibanez that have really good, easily gripped. And the only thing I didn't like about it, and I asked the lady, I was like, okay, what are the controls on this? And she goes, yes.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, well, like this is volume. These three had a detent, and this one didn't. So I was
Okay,
like,
so
is
I'm gonna
this?
say volume.
Well, I was thinking volume, volume, and then a three band. But then I was like,
I
there's
was
there's
thinking volume pickup selector 3 band.
well, but a pickup, usually a blend will have a detent in the center. That's the only thing that threw me was like this has
Wait,
two
give
pickup.
me. I thought that's what you said. Give me that again.
No, this and this did not have a detent. These
Oh,
three did. So I was thinking, okay, is it volume and just a non-detent blend, or is it volume and then three band? But
it
that
could be
didn't make
volume.
sense.
That's weird,
But
but
then there's no tone.
well, does it have a passive switch?
No,
Well, then
no.
it's
And
there's
that's
just
what I asked. I was
yeah.
like, hey, so on this thing, it's like, what are the controls? She goes, yes. And I go,
I'm gonna
okay,
say it's
so
volume three band.
and that was my guess, but then I was like, I don't recall a bass I've
Which is
ever seen
weird.
that didn't have tone.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
no,
was then thinking,
that definitely is true. Like Spectres, they don't have a tone. Like if it has
oh,
a
I'm just saying,
yeah, no.
like,
Most basses that are only active don't have a tone.
oh,
They have like some sort of volume, some sort of pan, and then they have whatever the preamp is, be it a two band, three band, whatever. The only ones that some and even some of those don't have it. Sometimes if it has a passive option, there will be a passive tone control, but even that's not 100% the case.
yeah,
It's hard.
I pulled on each of them to see if it was because like on the Sire Z7, the passive is a push pull on the bass knob,
Is this like
and
a
then
Chinese build?
yeah, this was another Chinese thing. I just walked
Mhm.
by and I saw it and I really liked it, and then that lady offered me to buy it for 300, and I was like, you
Man, I don't know.
and that
300. I like that color a lot.
well,
300.
and that's why I was asking what the controls are because she let
Yeah.
me handle it, and I was like, okay, well, does this have passive? She goes, yes. And I go,
No, I
okay,
don't think so.
I was like, how do I engage the passive? It will be fine. I was like, okay, this conversation's not
No.
going to go anywhere. So, and then when I went the last day, because I was just going to be that guy. I was just going to walk up on the last day, be like $200, and I'll take it right now. I will PayPal, Venmo, credit card, however you want to do it. And it had sold. There was a non-multi scale in gray, like a metallic slate gray, right underneath it, and I was like, you know what? I'd do $200 on that too because it doesn't need to be multi-scale. And if anything, Leah keeps getting on to me about that I should play around and do mods because I'm not going to get good at it if I don't try. And I was like, if I spend $200 on this and I completely bork it, I can at least get a set of EMGs and put some knobs and stuff to it that are solderless and then go from there.
I
But
mean,
um, they were like 280 for the silver one. I was like, okay, never mind. And they're like, you want to buy? I was like, I will buy for 200. They go, no, it is 280. I go, okay, then I won't buy. Okay, so you buy now? No, no, that's not how this works. It's not, we gave you a price. You're haggling. We're not haggling. Just buy it. No. So they also had a Strat guitar that had a drum machine built in
hmm,
because when I went over there, I was walking the last day with
what
Floof
could go
and
wrong?
do what?
What could go wrong?
Well, and Floof and I walked by and we were leaving from there and it was on the opposite end of their booth. And Floof was like, if they had like $100 Strat body guitar, I'd be in for it. And I looked at it and I saw it had that he was looking at it and he saw the button and knobs that said drums. So that lady came over. She's like, "You want to buy this one?" I was like, "Yeah, he'll buy it for $100." She goes, and then walks off and comes back. This one is $150. And he was like, it's more than I got. And then we just walked off. It's like, if you really want it gone, we
Hmm.
made you an offer. I saw this one way back in the very back corner, like back 40. I don't know what's with this handle because as you can see here, it's open. I don't know what that's about.
Are they made out of
This
carbon fiber? The one looks like
well,
it is.
this one's made of wood, and I don't know on this. It could be carbon fiber with colorings. I'm not sure. They didn't have any. Like I don't know if we can read it.
They
If
look expensive.
oh yeah, they were some sort of like boutique-ish
Mm-hmm.
thing, but they
Kind
were
of cool.
way in the they were way in the back 40. Um, but I took a picture and then I started looking at it later, and it's like, so this one's alder, rosewood on maple, Nova guitar part, headless bridge. They had all this stuff on there, but
Well,
like
Nova's a good hardware company.
and then the strings were blue was another thing caught my eye. And then they had these little knit fluffy topped beanies for the headlesses, and I was like, that's good. Keep the headless warm. Um, but I saw it and I was like, that's cool looking. And then the guy who was at that booth, the only guy who was there, didn't work there. He was just there looking at stuff, and I was like, "Are you covering this booth?" And he's like, "Nah." And then he walked off, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to be the only guy standing here at this booth because someone's going to ask me
I don't
questions."
know, man. I kind of dig them. What was the name of the
I
company?
thought it was. I don't know.
Zoom in on
I
the thing. On the tag. It's got to be on there.
oh say
Laura.
that's the model.
Lorette.
This thing in the back looks like maybe an OSAITIAS guitars.
Citius.
Well, unless that big thing in the background's like an O.
The name of the company, I found it. It's Citius. Yeah, they're like, they're not. It's not horrible. There's one for like 2,600.
I just saw it and it was neat looking.
Yeah,
This
I kind of dig them, honestly. I don't know if it's something I'd buy, but I kind of dig them.
this was another of the little China, hey, look what we can make booths. And I liked this one. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Squoe. SQOE. Squoe. Squoe. But I liked them because they actually had prices on their stuff. I was like, I'm not paying that for it, but I really liked
like a court. It looks like a standard court type build. You know what I mean?
I liked these little pill-shaped receivers better than the black ones you normally see with the set screw on the top. I thought that was cool looking. But I walked by there and there was this guy just sitting here with his arms crossed, staring at every person who walked by like he expected them to grab something and run. It was pretty funny. Then I saw Lars Lehman. That was cool. He also seemed like he didn't know why I wanted his picture, but I was happy. This one's out of order too. This is the 8-string guitar Hills is releasing now. So it was, my brother-in-law really wants one. He was super excited to find that they might send one for review.
Yeah, I'm not going to review that. I don't have.
But it's got some bass over here. I figure we tune it to E. We tune it to E A D G E A D G, and we get 2 octaves. Right.
I mean, that's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool idea, honestly.
Or tune it to BEAD BEAD. Then it's a double 5-string without the high. You said you wanted a 6-string. This has 2 extra.
I am kind of in the market for a 6-string.
You can tune it to BEAD. No. BEAD GC. And then just forget about the last 2 strings. Just tune them to whatever you want. But Hills, I really like this. This just looked weird to me. This like fixture. All the strings get held across here, except the high strings, which I guess seem to go through here. And I don't know if that was just because you needed all these to mount it to make sure it holds well. I don't know. I thought. I
don't see an issue.
I really thought it was interesting because this one notches up on the right, but then their headstock notches up on the left. So it was like, you could have made this just a little bigger, and it could have but I guess they didn't want it to interfere with the extra wood.
I think it's fine. It's fine.
And then this one was really funny. Leah and I were hanging out at the sire booth for a while, and people kept coming up wanting to record her playing the different sires that she had. And then she was like, the CEO came over. He's like, I have to take this cable and turn off this amp because Marcus is about to play. And she's like, that's why I've been hanging out. I just want to watch Marcus play. So he unhooks it, wraps up the cable, and I was like, I'm not going to stand here across all these people to watch Marcus. So I walked around, and the this was at the Swift audio booth. They're the ones I really like their stuff. They make wireless transmitters. I actually went there with Aristotle. I think it was second day we went up there, and they have a whole thing of like their different wireless stuff. And I was pointing out to him, I was like, I have this model, I have this other model, I've done that model, but that one broke. And I was telling him about it. I was like, they're cheap. They're like $40, maybe 50 if you get them on Amazon. And they work really well. Like I've not had a single problem out of them. And the ones I like about these is they have the 1/4 to 1/8 inch that screws in place.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
you could even just, and because of that being slightly longer, this fits into more spots too. Like the Ibanez SRs that have the weird off angle input, these can plug into it, and they don't like hit the hole
back
around it.
Yeah.
So
I was
talking about it, and this lady who worked there came up. She goes, "You have any questions about our products?" And I was like, "No, like I know a lot about your stuff. I've done 2 videos comparing your stuff." And what's funny is like where the guy in the blue shirt is, right back here, you can actually see it, is Lakato, who's probably, I would guess, maybe their biggest competitor, because they're another Chinese made, like less expensive wireless thing. And I was like, I've compared. It's funny because Lakato has one called the WS-70, and then this one is the WS-70 Plus. So almost exactly the same name. One has a minus and the other has a plus sign. But I told the lady, I was like, no, I've actually made a couple videos about your guys' stuff, comparing them. I was like, honestly, I like that WS-70 Plus better than this Positive Grid Spark Link. And this is $150 and theirs is 40 or 50. And then she asked me if I could send her the videos. I was like, well, I could send you a link. Yes. So I did that, and then they've reached out. They might want me to do some other tests. And they also have like IEM sets, which I'm super interested to try, because all of their stuff I've done has been great. Also, thanks for the shout on the X5s, because we got those for church and we tested them today, and the singer couldn't stop saying how much she really liked them. Now, granted, it could have also helped the fact that we had like 5 sets of these really nice Shure in-ears. But she really liked the sound that she was getting. So it was really good.
Yeah.
Now we realize that we got it originally with just one transmitter. And we were like, well, we can pan 2 to the left, 2 to the right and be fine. And then the singers were all like, I really want to have where I can hear me by myself and then the rest of the mix. So we got to get at least one more transmitter. But they really liked it. I'm hoping Swift is going to be willing to let me try an IEM system, even if it's, just a 1-in-1, because I bought these Positive Grid Spark Neos just because I wanted something that would be wireless, that I could hear, that could handle bass. And I didn't want to go spending like $400 on a wireless system when I could get these. And these, I think when I got them, they were on sale for like $200. And then I can just plug straight into an instrument and play there and have all the effects and everything that I would want, which I don't normally use.
My in-ear system is Audio Technica 7 something. But my in-ears is like, I just get them off Amazon. It's a Chinese company called like ZS Pro. And really, I mean, they're like $80. Really good. I mean, it's tough playing bass with in-ears. It's tough finding good, but they get a little bit staticky, but it's fine. I like them.
What was funny with Charles is because
For
I know
$80,
yeah,
they're awesome.
it was funny because I'd left Sire's booth because I wasn't worried about like seeing Marcus play. And I walked around. This was right across from the place with the brown and green multi-scale. And I was walking by and I saw Charles Bertu and I can't remember, Burnt, I think is his name, the guitarist with whom he plays. And they were playing at the Swift audio booth. And I happened to round the corner of the whole group over looking at the IEMs, which were just to my left. And they just finished and he stepped off stage and like one person was waiting right off the stage to, I guess, take his instrument and all that for him. And some guy in the audience, like I pulled my phone out, I was just going to take a picture of him to be like, look, I saw him. And some guy who was like at the front of the line waiting to see him, like reaches up and like holds his hand out for my phone. He goes, here, I'll take the photo. I was like, oh, cool. So he took it and I stood there and he took like 6 photos, 2 to the right, like 2 vertical, 2 horizontal. And then I was like, I just was going to yell at you and let you know that Marcus Miller's about to play over at the Sire booth, 2 booths away. And he was like, oh, cool. And then it's like, yeah, but now you got like 50 people here who want to talk to you. So I guess drag them with you over to Marcus's show because I'm sure you want to see it. But yeah, the guy took multiple. This was at the LEH booth. I thought that's a neat finish, so I sent that to my wife.
I've really dug their stuff. I've wanted to try one for a long time.
But he was super nice. As the show was shutting down, we were all kind of just standing around at his booth, and I helped. I was like, I'm just standing here, and nobody is here who cares to talk to me because there were people talking to Leah and stuff. I was like, this might be weird. Can I help you take your booth down? So I'm at least being helpful to somebody because I'm just kind of standing here. And he was like, no, I'm good. I like to pack my stuff up a certain way. I was like, that's fine. I just wanted to be nice and offer. And then he goes and unplugs. I think he had maybe a 4x10 or 4x12 with a head from Trickfish, who was 1 block over and like 2 booths down. He goes, would you mind taking this to them? I was like, I don't care. It's not like they're heavy. He was telling me they were heavy and I picked it up. I was like, this is not even as heavy as a hay bale. So don't tell me that something's heavy I've got to carry. And I took it over there and the guys at Trickfish were like, oh, that was so nice of you. I was like, yeah, I could have just walked out the door with it. It already had a label on the back of it. But I thought it was a neat finish. So I sent that to my wife. Then there's this guy. Got a video. And then there's this guy again. That's right before Leah joins him. And then this is when Leah got done. And then Floof went up. And that's the last of the stuff. Now we're going to have an infinite loop. Look at all those Chris's. Look at that. Isn't that something? Well, if this would click to let me stop sharing, that would be great. There it goes. Stop. And okay, let's say for a minute I was gone. I don't know what happened. Close that. Close that. Okay, just make sure none of that starts trying to throw anything.
All right, man. Well, this was fun.
And then, like I said, we'll hash out the stuff about who's traveling to where and when, because I have no clue. I know Leah's just getting sick, so she'll have recovery time, and then we can try to, I mean, it's not like we have a rush on anything. So what other things did you have? Because I saw obviously a whole bunch. I think I went to almost every booth. Like the second to last day, I just kind of zigzagged through wherever people, unless there was like a huge crowd of people, I tried to zigzag through basically every booth. So what other questions do you have, whether they're about me or not?
No, I mean, I was curious about that Sire.
I liked it.
Stuff. Look, some of that's those that
they have that new finish on a BTB, but it's the 5-string 37-inch. So
yeah, the mode line that they just those look interesting. Yeah, there wasn't really anything out there that I was like that I wanted to see. That new Sandberg bass, the that 5-string short scale semi hollow
Hmm.
thing.
I don't remember seeing. I know Leah had said something about where they were gonna like they. I guess they didn't have a booth, and they were
No, they
gonna.
piggybacked on onto something. They
I
were
think it
there
was
was
that
like some
show.
social media thing or something, and
Mm,
there was several Sandbergs there. But I know that they had one of those at that wherever they were,
yeah.
and because I'm pretty sure they're going to be too expensive, but I'm kind of looking for something like that as well, and it was really interesting because it was like essentially single pickup in the precision spot, semi
Hmm.
hollow, like good for like an acoustic show. It looks the part or whatever. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna end up because we're working on this new facet of the show um, that we're probably gonna be doing in like 6 months or so. Like it's not anytime soon, but I have to get my upright chops in order, and I need like it's like an acoustic thing, and I need to get my
Oh, let's
upright
say
chop.
Ibanez had an upright electric at the show, but
No. I have an upright, an electric upright, but
hmm.
I have a BSX Allegro. I'm just not. I'm sloppy on it. Like I just need to get polished. I can get around on them, but I'm not. I'm not. My intonation needs work and all that. But I also need. I want a short scale because I'm singing backup vocals on this thing too,
Hmm.
and I want to. I don't. There's something about like trying to sing and being out here. I wanted a short scale semi hollow, and I'm probably just going to end up getting a Dub King. But I was also just like looking at what else was out there.
Sure.
That's why I was talking to Daniel about the that Eastwood thing that he has because I kind of want a 5-string,
Oh,
something semi
Dyna.
5-string.
Yeah,
But
because he got that one, and that's the was that the signature model that he got?
yeah, it's the guy from the Gorillas or whatever.
Yeah,
It's his signature model.
yeah.
But it's a relatively inexpensive short scale semi hollow, so I was interested in it. But it'll probably just end up being a Dub King.
I remember seeing a 5-string semi hollow recently somewhere. I don't remember. It wasn't at like it's not one I remember seeing at NAMM. I just saw one recently with somebody. I don't remember who it
Short scale
was.
though,
I don't know. I'd have to double check.
yeah.
But yeah. And then my video this Wednesday is kind of a wrap up of all the like projects or possibles coming from NAMM for the two people who are watching, in case they want to know what's coming then. Um, and then I've been throwing everything in our group chat that I have of possibilities. There's one other I'm waiting to hear back because they asked for like more info, but that was GR, about possibly sending a combo
Oh,
for
cool.
us to send around. They
Oh, that'd be
wanted
awesome.
they
I've long wanted to try one of their rigs in depth.
they had they have some other interesting ones more than just the bass amps because they had some for acoustic, but then
Hmm.
they also have their ultralight stuff in PAs. Like they had one that had like
Oh,
two or
really?
three. They had like two or three inputs, like all the lines of the different EQs you could do, and it was like I think two or three um, input. So
Hmm.
kind of like the, I guess similar to the Spark Live, except for the fact that it's GR, so it's ultra light. But of course, it doesn't have the battery, so that's going to be one difference that you would have of you get more weight. Of course, their stuff's like one way more expensive, but two, it's also like 300-400 watts as opposed to I think the Live's 140. So you're gonna have a bit of a difference there. But no, they responded back to basically the hey, you guys told me to reach out while I talked to you at NAMM, and then they came back with basically like, for I can't remember their exact words, but it's like, okay, well, what's your like business model, operating procedures? How does this get handled? Like, what is it you're asking for? What is it you need from us, kind of thing. So I just put my big spiel of there's multiple channels, multiple people, you get multiple opinions, multiple videos. I try to get everything first and last so I can verify that, you know, if it comes back to me and it's got a big gouge on the side or something, it's, hey, this wasn't here when I got it before, who did this, kind of thing. And then I'll take responsibility however I have to. But I
Yeah,
haven't, I sent that yesterday.
I do have a dealer about 2 hours away. And I was thinking about it, but they keep really crappy hours. Like they're not open on weekends, so it makes it tough to go down there.
Gotcha.
But I do want to, because like I've tried them at NAMM, but NAMM's not a good environment to try amps.
I really like what AMP said on the like end of the year wrap up video that they all did with Johnny and them. And it was, if you want to know what NAMM is like, imagine all the worst parts about Guitar Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
that's it.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I mean, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully we all can do it next year, because there's supposed to be a lot more. Like Johnny said, he plans to be there next year. AMP said that he should be there. Chris probably will not be there.
I mean, I'll definitely pay for everything. For the last 2 years, I paid for everything and had to cancel last minute.
Dot felt so bad when I told her. She's like, but that's what happened. I was like, I know. I was like, I wish that.
That's exactly what happened.
I told her, I was like, I wish that it was just like a, hey, I'm just loaded. And I mean, granted, if I was loaded, nobody would have paid anything, so I would have just gotten the nicest place. Like if I was rich, everybody would have gone and I would have paid for everything. But I was like, I wish there was an alternative around it, but it sucks. But no, so there's supposed to be a lot more going next year. So hopefully we can even get a big, I mean, this year, of course, the place was just about perfect sized for who we had. What's funny is the B&B listed that it had, you know, like 4 beds and stuff. One of the beds was right in the middle of the living room. So it was like, well, that would have been fun for somebody. But and they put it in the corner that's right across the hallway from the bathroom. So it would have been like anyone who gets up and turns on the bathroom light is waking that person up. That's just how that's going to be. But no, so next year should be fun. We'll try and see if we can set up something in between, in the middle.
I think we should get stuff planned earlier so that like we're not so having to settle for things, like, you know what I mean? I'd like
that one that I'd originally found that was like 1,200 more, but was literally the opposite block away, would have been awesome, because it would have saved the money on Ubers and stuff. But I mean,
you end up paying either way.
Yeah, and for NAMM, like, I mean, it's really hard to commit, hey, I'm going to do a thing this time next year. But maybe more than a month or two in advance. Maybe it's like October.
I kind of want to look into. I kind of want to really consider just staying at that Clarion, right, you know, right next to the NAMM, right next to the.
Well, and I know when I was looking, because like if you book early, obviously at that whatever they are, Hilton, Marriott, whatever they are, that's right there in the convention center like area on the either side of the stage, the
Clarion,
big stage. I don't know. I think one's a Hilton.
But I mean,
either way, like if it's possible to book, and especially if it'd be cool if there was like conjoined rooms, so there's like, hey, 2 bed, like, but and the big thing is how big is the cost difference, and then the other thing is, like I told Leah, our thought, like my family's thought was, if we do go again next year, maybe try and do like, because I read the PR crap that NAMM sent out and it said show started on Monday. Well, that was set up, so I got there Sunday or Monday, thinking I was going to be able to go to the show, and then couldn't go in until Wednesday anyway. So that was a waste. Should have gone in on, or no, couldn't go until Thursday. I got there on Monday. So I was there 2 days that I couldn't get in the show. Now, Leah got in because Sterling by Music Man got her an exhibitor pass, but like I couldn't go in the first 2 days. So we were talking about doing kind of like what Aristotle did. If we all go, we might just bring the whole family, also do like the day after NAMM, might try and do Disney or something on like a Monday when they should be slow. Also, it's still winter, so they should be slow anyway. Maybe do Sunday, because Dot wants to go to the beach and the ocean. So might be do that on Sunday, since NAMM's not going to happen. So we may end up trying to book a B&B, even if the hotel is a thing. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we can definitely try to get it planned out 3 months, 4 months in advance.
One thing I've been considering is I've always wanted to do
a house up in the mountains with a crappy van.
Yes, I have the crappy van. But
I meant when Leah got the one that you got, she was telling me how it was trying to die all the way up to the base house.
It was a Dodge. I mean, yeah, that van was pathetic. But anyway, no, I've always wanted to do this train trip called the California Zephyr. And I was always thinking like, man, I could take that, because I believe it ends up in LA. There's two of them that I get mixed up all the time. One ends up in San Francisco, one ends up in LA. But doing that train trip and to going to LA and then going to NAMM. But
yeah, we'll see what we can all figure out. It's not like we don't have 6 to 9 months to get the rest of the plans put together. And then as far as the mid-year trip, we'll see what comes of that over the next few months.
I'm down. I mean, just let me know. The sooner we do it, the better, because I'm going to be hitting touring season. But
yeah,
okay. But
we'll
either
see.
way,
If I hear anything from Leah, then I'll holler at you, or she'll holler at you, or everyone will yell at you. Probably everybody will yell at you, but you know.
Yep. But all right, dude.
Sounds good. So this lovely gentleman here is Chris Volpini. He just put out a new video 5 years ago. You can go check that out. He might surprise us and put out some new ones.
Man. I'm actually, I don't know what the frequency will be, but I'm going to do it.
I'm trying to get you stuff, so there's at least that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I don't want to just do that though. Like, I want to have a practical focus on everything. But so I'm coming up with enough ideas that I can stack it. I'm coming up with enough good ideas for videos that I can stack them and have like enough time to come up with other. I don't want to just do and just, I want to do my own thing if I'm going to do it.
Sure.
But I will review gear. I'm just going to be talking about different things. I think
that's fine. Every different angle helps somebody.
Yeah, like I'm going to be focused on a practicality focus. Like, what would this thing be like on the road or whatever?
Sure. Rather than just hanging on a wall.
Rather than just playing at home,
Sure.
It's two different things.
Absolutely. So that's Chris right there. New video. At least he puts out a video at least once every 5 years. So,
but they're really good.
Hit the bell so you get that notification in 5 years when that next one comes out.
That's what I'm doing. I'm building suspense. I'm building interest.
Yes. Yes. For that big Shia LaBeouf twist,
dude,
or M. Night Shyamalan, or whoever it is.
One of each.
There you go.
Twist
that's Chris. He's running away, right. But talk to you later. Have fun.
All right, we'll see you.
And as always, I'm the okayest bassist. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a day as awesome as you are.